there, this is Vahid from VRF Education channel, and it is the 10th session of object-oriented programming in Python. Today, I'm going to talk about property in Python classes. A property is a mechanism or a way to access private fields of an object. In previous session, we have learned that in order to have a valid object through the application lifetime, we need to restrict the access to the object fields from the outside the class. That was the first step, and we did it by making the fields private. And then we mentioned that we need to create a way to access those private fields from the outside the class. So we need to work with the current with the object states. So we need to have a way to access those fields under control. Property is the best way or recommended way in Python to do that. We need to create a property for each private fields and change the values or set the values under control, under our logic. So by using properties, we can prevent assigning negative values to some fields such as age in person class. Properties are something like setter and getter methods in Java or C++, and also you can add those methods to your Python classes, but it's not recommended. It's recommended to use property. And this can be done using decorator or calling a function named property. And I'm going to show it in VS Code very soon. So let's go to VS Code and check how we can use property in Python classes. In previous session, we have learned that we can change the accessibility of class fields by adding double underscore in front of the field name. It's very good, and it's always recommended to declare a field as private. When we declare a private field, the Python interpreter ensures us that this field value cannot be changed outside the class. It should be changed inside the class or internally, and it's very good. So let's first of all look at an example for this purpose, and then after that we're going to talk about property and the way that we can change the private field values. I'm gonna create a class named employee, and in constructor I'm gonna receive the age of employee and saved it in a field self.age equal to, for example, argument age. Now I'm going to create an instance for employee, an instance of this class, pass 40 as the age, and print it e1.age. So if I run the application, it's obvious that 40 goes to the output, and if I can change it directly, e1.age equal to, for example, -10. This is not good. We should apply some logic on setting values for this field. We don't have any negative age, but in this class it's possible to set the age to -10. So if I change it to a private field, and here if I want to change the dunder age, it's gonna raise an exception. Attribute employee object has no attribute age. Okay, it's because it's private. So in a couple of programming languages such as Java or C++, when we make a field private, we should define two methods to access that specific field. We call them setter and getter method or accessor methods. So in this scenario, I'm going to create two methods, def get underline age, and here I'm going to return self.dunderAge, and after that def sets underline age. I forgot to pass self here. Self and value self dot dunderAge equal to value. Now I can change age, that is a private field, through set age and read its value using get underline age. For each private field that we want to expose it to the outside the class, we should declare two methods, one for setting and the other for the getting or retrieving the value. Now here I can read the value using get age, calling get age method 40, and again I can set age But right now I can pass negative values again. And this is -10 set for age. It's true based on the logic that is already implemented inside this class, but it's not true. So I said that I'm gonna add some logic for setting values. This is where that I'm able to add some logic for setting values. Here I'm gonna add an if statement. If value is less than 0, then raise an error. Raise value error. Age cannot be negative. Now if I run the application one more time, you see that this exception raised, age cannot be negative. So situation is under our control, and we can control the way that we're gonna save or retrieve data from our classes or our objects. This is the way that we used in some programming languages such as Java or C++, and it's not Pythonic. Although we can use it, it's not Pythonic. And when we are going to write program in Python language, it's better to use some Pythonic way. It's a little bit hard to say e.setAge or e.getAge, e1.getAge. Compare it to this one, e1.age and e1.age equal to something, print e1.age. The second approach is much clearer, and we know that age is a field, a characteristics. It's not a behavior to create a method for that. So in Python, like C# or .NET family, we have a concept, it names property. We can add property to get rid of these setter and getter functions. To use property inside a class in Python, we have two ways. First of all, here I can create a property named age equal to, we call property function, and here I'm going to send different methods, one for get method, one for set method, and one for deletion. And after that we can return a string for documentation of this property. So for set and get, or get and set, I can use this function again. I'm gonna use them, get underline age and set underline age. These two are enough for creating a property that we can use to access a private field for reading and writing data to that. And we can use another function for deletion. I will give an example for that in a minute. And now, here instead of using these functions, I can use this approach. So if I run the application, it said that the value for the age is 10, and if I assign -10, again it raised an value error exception. Age cannot be negative. So that's true, and everything is under control again. The main drawback for this approach is that if I just put dot in some environments such as VS Code that it gives IntelliSense to us, you can see get age and set age, set underline age again, and we have age property also here. So this gonna makes the IntelliSense a little bit busy and crowded, and maybe lead us to some confusing in future. Another mechanism for creating property is the best way to use property in Python, and we'll get rid of this command line and also these setter and getter methods in the IntelliSense menu. Before that, let's give you an example for deleting part. I'm gonna create del underline age. And here, first I'm gonna print something. Delete called. And we can simply del self dot dunder age and pass it as a third argument, del underline age. Now if I'm delete e1.age, it automatically called this function for us. Delete called, and after that, I forgot to copy this one here, and after that Employee object has no attribute employee underline age because I deleted it before this line. In this line I deleted it. So this is how we can pass a delete function for the property in Python. Now I'm gonna change the way totally. Let's comment these all, and I don't need it anymore. And also this one, I'm not gonna use this approach anymore. The next approach is to annotate or decorate our function. I'm gonna get rid of this get and set here and decorate it with another decorator property. Okay, and for setter we should use @ our field name, our price dot setter. Okay, this is the getter function. We decorated with @ property decorator, and for setter one we use the name of the field and dot then setter. Now we can use it very easily. E1 dot, we have age here, only age, and there's no need to use those get underline or set underline age for accessing the variables. Now we can just change it to e1 dot age equal to -10 and check it. Print e1 dot age to see if the setter function works or not. Setter part of the property. Yeah, that works fine, and said and it raised an exception. Age cannot be negative. So this part has been done completely. And if I change it to, for example, 50 and try to read it, the setter and getter part of the property works fine. So what if I pass negative number to the constructor and comment it out? Let's see what we have. We have -40, and that's true because here I used the private field directly to set the values. In this scenario, I should use the property to set the values or get values. So if I run the application one more time after this change, it says age cannot be negative. So this is true, and we should always use property if we have some logic inside the setter method to apply it in all scenarios, not outside the class, but inside the class we should always use the setter or getter part of the property to read and write data to a private field. It's the best way or the best practice to do things. And also we can have a read-only property. What does it mean? I can comment the setter part, and now I have only the getter part. So how can I write to a read-only property? This is true, it's read-only, but we can initialize it in the constructor for the first time, and after that it turns to read-only. So if I run the application, I'm gonna change it to Word, for example. Cannot set attribute. I forgot to change it to the private field. Yeah, that's true. We're gonna set it directly to the private field, and after that we just have the setter part, the getter part of the property, not the setter. Now if I run the application, run it one more time, it says yeah, the property is 40, and if I try to change it outside the class or even inside the class, e1.age equal to, for example, 100, it raises an error and cannot set the attribute because we don't have any setter part for this property. And anything else? Let me check. And one last thing is the property deleter, such as delete function that we passed to property function in previous example. Here I can easily let's uncomment these lines and decorate it with, again, the name of the property age.deleter. Okay, and change it to the age. And now if I delete e1.age, e1.age, and run the application, employee has no object age. Okay. That's true. Delete called first, and then after that I want to read the age property, and it says employee object has no attribute employee under age. That's true, and the employee, and we successfully deleted the age throughout this method. And this method can be useful to make some log of user activity, or developer activity that deleted something from our classes, and some other stuff like that. So this is the two way to create property inside a Python class to provide developers a supervised approach to change the private field values. I hope you enjoyed the content, and I will be glad to hear you in the comment section. Till the next session, goodbye.